Hello, everybody. This is Robin Leslie with OnlyTheInspired.com, and we are on day 25 of the OnlyTheInspired.com Coach Summit. And this last week of the summit is kicking it into full gear. And so we have multiple coaches on multiple days. And today I'm super excited about the coaches that are coming on. We have the beautiful Miss Theresa Lambert, and she comes from the corporate world, and she really focuses on helping women in that field get out of the burnout and actually get that life, work-life balance where you're not just working 80 hours a week. Hello, Miss Amber. How you doing? So make sure if you're tuning in, let us know where you're coming from. And if you're going to watch the interviews anyways, please do a watch party. Share the interviews, invite people to the summit. The value that these coaches bring are amazing. And sometimes you didn't realize there's a way out of whatever situation that you're in. And when you hear coach after coach letting you know they were in that same situation and they got out and now they're fulfilled, it's really, truly valuable. And so please share the message. Let's help as many people get to that absolutely inspired and fulfilled life, because that's what it's all about. We're not here just to work and not have any fun. We're here to light ourselves up and do the things that we want to do with who we want to do it, when we want to do it. And that is absolutely completely possible. And so I'm super excited. And then a little bit later today, we have Lucia Tiffany. So she's a nurse, and what a background that lady has. Just an incredible background. She does cooking shows. She's also a nurse. She helps people overcome the certain lifestyle diseases that they have, like diabetes and stuff like that. So that's a very important interview. I hope you guys stay around for that. So we're going to do Miss Theresa, and then let me bring up Theresa.
Hi. Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So awesome. This is Miss Theresa Lambert, and I can't wait for your interview today. And you haven't heard it. Actually, we just recorded it this month, but I was listening to it again this morning, and I love your story, and I love, the aha moments and where you're at now versus where you were before. And so many people need help with that, working 80 hours a week. It'll kill you slowly.
Yeah, it does. It creeps up on you.
Yes, and you'll feel like you're the Walking Dead after a certain amount of time doing that. So I'm very excited about your interview. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play Miss Theresa's interview, and then she's going to be here for questions and answers after. So make sure that you put comments in the chat, any questions that you have, and we're going to bring her back up. And so are you ready? Do you want to share anything before we get going?
No, I'm just super excited to rewatch the video. It's been, I feel like, a few weeks, and so I can't wait to see it. And I hope you're watching and stay on and ask me anything you like after the interview. I'll be here. So I'm excited. Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Miss Theresa, will you mute your microphone, and then we'll bring you back up. Again, anybody watching, please put any questions that you have in the chat. Okay. And so here we go. Hello, everybody. This is Robin Leslie with onlytheinspired.com doing another amazing interview today. We have the beautiful Miss Theresa Lambert. So I can't wait to get into what she's all about and how she helps people. So in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
That's awesome. Hi, Robin. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be part of this summit. Such a good cause. Again, my name is Theresa. I'm a strategist and coach, and I actually specialize on helping female executives that feel stressed and stretched thin and maybe dancing on that edge of burnout to bounce back from them and lead with focus and really create the work-life balance that they desire. And that is my jam. That is what I do. That is what I want to spend my life doing. And that's as simple as that.
Beautiful. And you get the accent to go with it. I love the accent.
That's right. I am German originally, but I moved to Canada 14 years ago. So yeah, I have a bit of a mixed accent because there's a lot of Australians living in Whistler. So it's a bit of a funny story.
Yeah, I love it. Yay. So how did you get started in this? Was it one event or a series of events? You know, obviously you didn't wake up one day, going, I want to help female executives. So how did you get started?
I've always really been a champion for women in leadership. I actually was a general manager of a luxury boutique hotel most recently before I jumped into my business full time this January. And I sort of probably 3 years into that GM role, I had hit a real roadblock. I was feeling exhausted all the time. I would have not told you that I was burnt out because to me that was a sign of weakness. I'm like a high achiever, A-type personality. If I say that I do something, I get it done and I can't stop until it is done. And so this whole idea of success and what we want to achieve and what it should look like ultimately really started to drag me down. And I remember that I got to that place where I was just feeling so overwhelmed all the time. I was having trouble making decisions. And there was actually one incident that really sort of, I think, pushed me over the edge in terms of where I was. I had woken up and I wasn't really sleeping that well because I always was thinking about the thousands of things I needed to do. And I checked my phone in the morning and that was the thing I did, check my emails right away. What did I miss in the last 8 hours that I wasn't at the hotel? And we had an incident that when I watched back that CCTV footage reminded me more of like a crime movie scene unfolding than something that we would see. And so right away, like I could just feel like this pressure building up on my chest and I like started to cry and I was like, my neck was getting tight and I was just thinking to myself, like, how am I going to deal with this? Like, this isn't normal. Like, this isn't what I signed up for. Like, I was just so overcome by emotion. And then this email that basically, at the top was like, what are you going to do about it? And I stood in that kitchen and I was like, what am I going to do about this? Like, this is a really good question. And so I sort of just put the mask on and went to work and I dealt with it and we got the situation under control. And this was nothing that we had ever seen before, but it really sort of caused me to step back and just think that like I was just such a hot mess. I was like, I don't even know how I made it through those days. Like, and I just knew that there had to be a better way. This whole idea that we work 80 plus hours and that, it's normal that we're stressed and it's normal that we're exhausted. Like, and it's normal that we're like busy all the time. That just got to me. And so I was like, you know what, I got to change this. And I started to actually get sick. Like my health was deteriorating. And again, like I didn't really let anything really, be seen because again, to me that at that time I was still like, I must be weak. Like there must be something wrong with me. And so ultimately when I didn't get the help that I was hoping for from actually like my doctors and that, because I was like, that like there's something wrong, like give me something and fix me, was my initial reaction. But then I started studying human behavior and health, and I started with a health coaching certification, started to realize how much I love coaching, learned more and more about just, you know, human behavior and high performance. And I basically self-applied all those things and took my own, like myself as my own test subject through this, and figuring out, you know, how can we do the work we love while living the life we want, so that we're not obsessing over work, and we can switch off, and we can have a life, and we can have balance. And so it was a journey. And through that, and these certifications that I really at the beginning only took because I wanted to figure out how I can make this work for myself, I ended up realizing that helping other people, coaching other people, offering mentorship, especially to women in business, was something that was like, that was more than something that I like to do. It was like, I have to do this. And, you know, in the hospitality industry, I see so many people that struggle, and so many incredibly women that leave the industry because they're so zapped out. And I was like, you know what? There is a better way. And I figured it out. And the second I did, I was like, I've got something here that I need to share. And I didn't know how, but I just got to the point where I was like, let's do this. And so I started this journey and started coaching people a few years ago now. And yeah, here I'm at now, doing it full time and loving life, may I just say.
Without the overwhelm and the stress, and you could be human. And yeah, and a lot of people think being vulnerable and showing any weakness is, you know, bad, but it's not. And we try and be strong for, you know, other people, and it can wear you down to the bone. So I love what you're doing, and what a journey, huh? So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
For me right now, my ultimate vision is to really sort of make a global impact. I would love to get to a place where I've inspired 10,000 women to their path to what I call graceful high achievement, and just lead with a more elegant, feminine, focused power, rather than what, you know, societal's view is of what success is like. And if I could do that, I can only imagine the potential and the ripple effect that that would have. And, you know, that to me right now is where I see it. And what will unfold from there, I have no idea. But, you know, for me, that would just be like, it's a hard, like I can't even describe it in words, what that would mean if I would be able to leave that impact.
Win,
major win. Yeah, like everybody wins. Like I always find too, and it's like, you know, whether, and it's like I put that number out there, 10,000, but you know, whether it's 10,000 or whether it's one person, ultimately that really, you know, takes everything in and really changes their life. Ultimately, it really, the quantity doesn't particularly matter, but it's just like when you see people transform and you see them changing how they show up in their life, like that is just like, that is so fulfilling, and that brings me so much joy that like that's it, I never experienced anything like it.
well, but you have with yourself. So
I guess so.
Yeah, I haven't done this with anybody. So describe for a second how you were feeling on a day-to-day basis in your old career, and how you feel now with the internal emotions and freedom or trapment, or if you could give a little comparison, I'd love to hear that.
You know what, I would say in my previous role, I mean, I thought that was my dream job. So I would start by saying that, you know, I still really, I love the idea of that job. I loved the opportunities that it brought. I loved having a team and leading a team. Like those were all things that I really enjoyed. But on a feeling, like day-to-day feeling basis, I just always felt like something wasn't right, like something was missing, and it felt heavy, and it was draining the energy out of me. Like I really needed to, like I had by the end, like I had some really strict boundaries and like healthy routines in place to help me offset the energy that it would take out of me to show up and do that work. And what I realized was that, you know, I can continue to be in this job that doesn't really fulfill me and try and fill it with other stuff, but it doesn't really do that. Or I can actually get to this place where I was like, you know what? It's probably time for me to step in and do what I love full time, which was the scary choice. And there was definitely, you know, not too many. I'd mostly, I would say, supporters. Some people were just like, are you sure you want to do that? You have this amazing career. And, you know, on paper, I was living the perfect life. Like, for so many people, like I was a, you know, young woman in business, very successful, and people like, really, you really, like, could you not, like, you know, adjust things? But I was just always like, there was just nothing really filling my energy. And what I came to was just that, you know, when we spend, like, our time so valuable, so why do we spend it, you know, doing something that doesn't lift us up, doing things that don't energize us? Like, why do we do that? And once I had that answer, it was like, it doesn't make sense, so change it. I swapped, and, you know, now I feel energized by what I do. Like I like wake up and I'm excited to hit go. Like when I get off a call with a client, like I feel more energized than when I started that call, or when I, you know, get messages that what they're up to, or they're sharing something that they did, like a win they had. And like, that's like uplifting, and it's making me happy. And so, you know, and the freedom that's come with that too, I think has been, you know, incredible. And yeah, you know, there's effort building your business. It takes time, and there's things that I do that I wished I could outsource right now. But I'm not there yet. But at the end of the day, like, it's just, you know, when you show up with the right energy and that right mindset, and you just love what you do so much, it just changes it. You just, like, there's all this energy and all this motivation, where before I was like, okay, I'm going to have to motivate myself. I'm going to have to do this. And
You
then
have to force yourself to do it.
yeah, I had to force myself to do so many things. And you know, by no means, Joe, I want to sort of downplay, like, the team I had. I loved them, and they were great, and there were many aspects that I enjoyed. But for the most part, I just knew I was stuck and I was trapped, and now I feel free.
And are you still working 80 hours a week?
Oh my God, I actually stopped that a long time ago. The last year that I was at the hotel, I didn't, I probably worked roughly 40 hours a week. So I did manage to cut it down. It was important for me to make sure that what I coach people on works, and I can actually bring it into a real life situation. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I have to know that something works, so I have to try it first before I bring it out and share it with anyone. So, and it worked. And, you know, now, no, I don't work. I don't even think I work 40 hours, to be honest. I
Nice,
think
huh?
that, yeah, you know what? Like, I've been golfing a ton. I love to golf. And I think that what I look at it, you know, I look at it this way now: not doing things, or doing things that you love to do outside of whatever we consider our work, is work too. So spending time with family, like quality time, having time for yourself, where you just sit and just reflect on and just be with your own energy, you know, going golfing, or riding your bike, or going for a walk with a girlfriend, or catching up with people, that is work too. And when we start to look at it that way, it all sort of blends in, right? But I think that we like to label things as work, and then we sort of use a rating system, like, it's important you do this, and it's important you do that, but this isn't so important. And when we do that, we use it as a way to knock out what we think is a priority. And so I just flipped it on its head. I'm like, I want a balanced life. I want to feel energized. I want to show up as my best self. So that means I need time to rejuvenate. I need time to hang out with my girlfriends. I need time to do the things I love, like golfing, and but then when you actually, do work, you're so much more productive and you get a lot more done because you stop wasting your time on all the stuff that really doesn't matter. So anyways, it's like,
And you're not totally stressed out every day and putting on this mask,
well, it's exhausting, right? Like, it's exhausting to keep up appearances. It's exhausting to keep up that you have your shit together when you don't.
Exactly. So, what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your competition? What is your unique gift that you bring to coaching?
I would say that for me, I really, truly, and wholeheartedly believe now that we are not a measure of our results. Like, we are the person that we are. We are not what we do. We are not what we earn. We are not how many hours we work. Like, we're not compromised by things that you can measure like that. I think that is a really different perspective from what a lot of people bring to the table. And, it took me a while to get there, but once I did, it's just things flow differently. And I also think, for me, is that I believe that you can create balance in your life with any career. And I truly believe that. And some people will say that, and I hear this a lot, because I coach a lot of people in the hotel and sort of hospitality industry that tell me that it's not possible that you don't work 18 hours a day or 6 days or 7 days a week, and that's just the way it is. And so I just don't believe that is true. So I hold the space for my clients to be able to figure out how they can make it work, regardless of how intense the environment is that they're in.
Got you. Yeah, and that's just crazy hours. So, what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
I think that with everything, is that starting something requires patience, and it requires discipline, and it requires trust. And I think for me, because I like to get things done quickly and see momentum, that's part of my journey, to let that go and to slow down enough to give things time to expand and time to reach people. Like, that's a big, that was a hard thing. It's still a hard thing
now.
Yeah, trusting the process, trusting that it will work, trusting that it's all going to be fine. Like, that requires a lot of inner work. And I think that we think that because we're passionate and we hang out, shackle up, and we're like, yay, the people will come. And then they don't, and you're like, Argh! And then obviously COVID put a bit of a spin in the works for all of us, right? So, but having faith, having trust, staying on your path, choosing what you want to do, and then doing that, regardless if you see something, like, just keep doing it. Like, that has been the hardest thing, but at the same time the most liberating thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just going through the motions without immediate results, knowing that it's going to come, that kind of trusting. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel you. So, and you mentioned a little bit before when you were leaving your business or your previous career. But I'm curious, do you have the support network of friends and family going, Theresa, you need to do this? Or is this something I know I need to do and I'm doing it no matter what anybody else says?
No, you know what? I did have the support, especially from close friends and family, which was really nice. I had actually been offered a VP role with the previous business to expand their whole suite of businesses and take it out of the hotels. So it would have been a bigger role and different responsibilities, but really business development focused. So I had an opportunity to, like, move up more in that career path and continue that with that company. And so I remember this day, and that was really, really nice. Actually, I came home and I was talking to my husband about it, and he said, are you really going to, are you going to take the risk to jump into an opportunity for someone else that you may or may not like, or are you going to finally take a risk and put that risk on yourself?
Good job.
Yeah. And then he's like, and I think you know what to do. And I was like, do you? And he was right? He was right. It was time for me. And so, yeah, I got a few, I think everyone has sort of the fears, right? And I had that fear myself, right? Like having had, a solid income and not having to worry about things like that. I was definitely like, well, how's that going to look like? And I had to detach from the how. And yeah, my friends and my family were super supportive, and they're still now. I feel really blessed that I've spent a lot of time building strong relationships over the years outside of the hotel, that I had people that are really there and that are continuously cheer me on, and they're like, no, you've got this, just be patient, everything's going to work out. Like we need that, like we need the cheer squad. And I would recommend to everyone, like, invest your time in finding your cheer squad, because whether you think that you'll need them one day or not is not about that. Just knowing you have them is incredible. And yeah, that's been super helpful in terms of staying positive and continuing to move forward, especially, with what 2020 has brought to all of us.
There's good and bad, but it's challenging.
There is, yes. Just a few more extra rocks in the way.
Yeah. So what is your favorite thing about your business?
Ooh, my favorite thing, probably my clients, I would say. I love my clients. I love, they're amazing. They're just amazing. I'm like the biggest fan, I think. I love what they do. And yeah, like I think I mentioned that earlier, but to me, that is so meaningful to be able to impact people. And I feel so grateful that I'm able to be a part of their journey and that they've trusted me to be their coach. And yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Yay.
I love that.
So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
I love golfing. To me, that's a walking meditation. I take a lot of life lessons from golf and it inspires me. Other things, I think just life in general, I think that, I live in a beautiful, gorgeous place in the mountains in Whistler, and it feels like I live in a postcard. And just being in this environment inspires me tremendously. And just, I love seeing, like, there's been so many amazing shifts around the world that I've sort of seen, and people, speaking up and people changing their lives. And there's this big, like, obviously there's this big, like, entrepreneurial movement, and maybe because I'm in it more, I see it more now. But yeah, I'm just inspired. I'm inspired by what other people are up to, and the beautiful place we live in, and like there's so many incredible things that we have, and yeah, all of that weaved together. That's my gem.
Just taking notice of it. So just letting you know, one of our coaches on the summit, she's been in the LPGA tour, and she was on the Legends tour.
So, oh, that's amazing.
And I can't wait for everybody to hear her story. She is just a kick in the pants. Love her.
That is awesome.
So who inspires you?
Who inspires me? There is a few people that do, and I was, when I'm sort of thinking about that, there's always some big names that come up. But recently, I've been really focused on looking within my circle who inspires me, rather than going to some of the big names out there that inspire me. And so some of the people that do is a friend and colleague of mine. She's a great entrepreneur, Blair Kaplan. She has her own PR communications company, but she also just released her book Pulsing Through My Veins, and she has started a project that's called I Am the Resilient Project, and it shares stories of resilience. And I love what she what she does with that, and she's been through quite a lot in the last year alone. And so she's an incredible person. She inspires me tremendously. There's another friend of mine that I have who is well, I call her like a Jedi master. She is incredible, Robin Siebel. She teaches what she calls self-mastery, and she's incredible. And I've learned, like, she inspires me to do less and to just live life and soak it up and trust that things will come. And she is just incredible. I'm always like, whenever we're around, we like mind mapping and doing all these things, and I feel inspired. And then my mom has always inspired me. She ran her own business for as long as I can remember, and she's always made it work, and she stands up for what she believes in, even if other people might not, share that same opinion. And so that I find that very inspiring.
Awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
That is very cool. So last question, big question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you can say and your only chance to say it, what would that be?
I would say you're not your results. You're not your results. Stop measuring your self-worth, your value on what you've accomplished or what you do. It's got nothing to do with who you are.
Don't compare yourself.
No.
And we do that.
Don't measure yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do not, that's not you. You're not your results. You're not your job. You're not your income. You're not a label. I think that we get so stuck in this unhealthy pattern of valuing ourselves in comparison to what we do or what we earn or what people think, and that is just not what it is. And so if you can detach and just be you and instead of someone asking you who are you, most people will say, oh, I'm an accountant, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm this, or I'm that, right? But that's not who you are. Maybe you're an awesome, loving person. Like, you are you, but we have this need to always put this value or this label on, and it can be really deteriorating to our mental health and our physical health. And, from someone who's let that literally rule her life until only recently ago, really only a year or so ago, that I really internalized that is not it. That's been life-changing, and it's been life-changing for my clients. And so, yeah, you're not your results would be my golden nugget.
Great. I love that. And, and I've been one of those. So I still bartend. And I know inside I'm meant to change the world. And I know what that answer is now. I'm not quite, I'm launching that. But for years, I used to make a joke out of it. People would ask me, what do you do? And I'd laugh. I say, oh, I get people drunk for a living. And so, and being a server and a bartender, sometimes people look down on you, and I know I'm more than what that profession is, and that profession actually can make really good money. And so, but people, I would judge myself for that label, even though that is not, that is just what I do for a living. And that is only a piece of me. That's not even the entire me. And when you compare yourself to others, we're on our own journey, and we have to go through our own journey to get there. And sometimes it takes an awakening before it's like, that it doesn't matter. I know who I am. It doesn't matter what I do, how much money I make, if I have nice cars or not. Yeah, I love what it's a different perspective. And I would find myself, kind of putting myself down. I get people drunk for a living. But
we do it.
Yeah, Marie Forleo, she was a bartender. As she's launching everything, and she was that was part of her journey, and she embraces it. Lots of people bartending, that kind of thing. And so I love that.
What I would really say too is that hospitality teaches us humility and kindness and generosity and patience, amongst all sorts of other things. I think that if you've ever been in any service type role, the life skills you learn and the people skills you learn are tremendous. And it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to be able to handle the pressure in that environment. So, I commend you for it. That was my life for 20 years. And, I think that you're right. People love to label stuff and love to measure things. And, you let that go. You're like, I'm awesome. Right? Like, I can do this. I can run a 31-day summit with incredible people if I want to, and bring joy to people that way. Good for you.
Yeah, so I could say I'm a bartender. Who am I to put on a 31-day 70 coach summit? But that's not what I want to do. Yeah. So, and just kudos out there to everybody working right now in the service industry, especially. People are pissed off right now with the COVID, and it's sometimes they lash out at people in the service industry when it's not our fault. And, just kudos to you, because it's tough out there right now. For sure. So you are gonna give away, you have a couple, like a little bundle that you're giving away.
I do, that's right. Yeah, I just published my book, which became a bestseller on Friday, which I'm super thrilled about. It's called Achieve with Grace. It's a guide to elegance and effectiveness in intense workplaces. And it actually takes you through my hotelier journey and how I was able to find balance and my entire system. And so when you click that link that we're going to be sharing, you'll be able to get access to the ebook version. And every book also comes with access to a little mini course and some workbooks, so you can actually work through each of the steps that I share throughout the book and start your path to graceful high achievement.
That is terrific. Yay. So I will just give you her website. I will put the full link for the giveaway in the Facebook group because it's a long link. So I'm just going to tell you what her URL is, and then the specific URL to actually get that package, that little bundle, will be in the Facebook group. So her website is TheresaLambertCoaching.com. So it's TheresaLambertCoaching.com. And so again, that URL for that specific giveaway will be in the group under the giveaway. So is there anything else that you would like to share, Miss Theresa?
No, this was amazing. I'm just feeling so grateful to be part of this, and kudos to everyone who's participating and watching all the interviews that have been amazing. And you know what, be inspired, go out there and inspire people, and just go and do what you love and stop worrying about what everyone else thinks.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please share the video, share the interviews, because it's going to touch people. And there's so many people that have been in that corporate job 80 hours a week, and they're just hitting a wall and don't know how to get out of that, or don't know that it's possible to get out of that and still be happy and, create the life that you deserve. So please share the message, share the interview, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I think I'm excited that you found that passion and that you're not just so overstressed, and that you're helping people come out of that. That's beautiful. And you can reach your 10,000, and I'm going to help you. Just
thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you later. Okay. So how was that for you?
Oh, so fun. It's so fun rewatching the interview when you haven't seen it in a while. And it's funny because this week I've been focusing a lot about talking about slowing down and the importance of slowing down and what that really means. And so it's funny that I always talk about that. And you would have never used to find me talking about things like slowing down. I'd be like, how can I go faster? And now I'm like, how can I slow down?
Well, and
So good.
sometimes we feel like it's a badge of honor to, go balls to the walls and kick butt all the time. And but it, after doing that long enough, then you hit a wall and you're so exhausted. Yeah. So Irene saying, hi, love that, hairdresser for 37 years. Yep. Yeah. And so it's interesting to go from what was the norm for you, work, 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 being proud, not showing any weakness like you were showing, like you were talking in the video. And now it's like, I know what's important now. And I choose to, make sure that my balance is included in everything that I'm doing, having fun with friends and golfing and family. And yeah. And more of us need to, all of us want that. All of us want that, but don't know how to actually achieve that.
Yeah, it's so true. I think that when we start to give ourselves permission to go after what we want and to really build that and to invest in getting the help, whether it's through coaches or mentors or, courses or books, like whatever your way is that you absorb information, when you start to invest in getting yourself that, your support system to get you to that place, I mean, the payoff is huge. You can't repay. Like time is the most valuable thing we have in my mind. Like if you look at it as a currency, then, if you get an extra hour, 2 hours, 3 hours every day to do things you love or to spend it with people that you love, that is priceless. You can't put a price on that.
No, well, and that is the one thing that you can't, like, you could spend $1 million and then, in 15, 20 years, whatever, earn that money back. But it doesn't, whatever hours, minutes we've spent, we cannot get that back. It's gone. And so that's why, being here in the now. And some of us still struggle with that. When I was a single mom and building my coaching business and work, I didn't have any social life, but now I'm in a relationship and his love language is quality time. And so I have to be very aware that I can't just be all work and no play. Makes Robin a dull girl. But so those are all things that I think we evolve in, and I love that you help people do that, because your life, I'm sure, is so much more blessed every day than it was before. Yeah,
I mean, it's just changed so much, right? Like it's hard to compare the two, but I just think that it's worth the effort. Like it's worth the risk. It's worth the, investment you'll make of figuring it out. Like it's just so worth it. And, like you said, you don't get the time back. Like every second that's gone is gone forever. Like you can't click rewind. And, I always think that like you really want to live your life so that when you get to the end of it, you're not there and being like, oh, you feel like, that's a big fear of mine, is that I get to the end of my life and regret that I haven't made the most out of it. And, or, that I wish I would have lived the life I wanted and not the one that other people told me to have. And so when we start to change I call it a game, like it's like a game of life. When we change the game and we start to change the rules for ourselves, like we get to win all the time. And I like winning.
Yeah, well, of course you do. You're a type A personality, of course you do. But you're winning at the stuff that you enjoy now. Before, I doubt that you got to hang out with your friends and go golfing very much when you're working 80 hours a week. And now this is super important to me, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make sure that's part of my everyday life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's not an easy journey. And, to your point that a lot of people still work on that, I think too, it's a journey and it's a process. And I still go back to the stuff that I teach, and I still have to remind myself, because it's easy to fall back into things that we sort of look at normal, or we think is, we just like, oh, it's just the way I do things, right? Like I just work that much. And so then it's easy for us to go down that path. But no, like, it's the enjoyment too, and being in the moment and really getting the experience out of it, rather than, having lunch with friends and thinking about that report you have to submit for work, or, and I think when we learn to be present with everything we do and really make the most out of those moments we have, it just shifts things. It transforms your life, and it brings you the joy and that fulfillment that everyone is always talking about, and few people dare to go and get it. And so if we can all inspire people to take that step and take that leap and go after building a life that fulfills them and that gives them joy, and you take back your time, take back control. Like, if we can do that through what we do in our work, I mean, talk about impact.
Well, yeah, what you just said, it's not everybody actually goes out and does that. And I think that's part of their mindset, their belief that they don't think is an option. And right after that, you said, if we can inspire people to do that, that's exactly what this Coach Summit is about. Yeah. What if, and I'm talking to the people listening, what if you could live that life that you want? What if you had the time to do all of the pleasures in life, whether that be hanging out with friends or playing with your grandbabies or traveling? So many people love to travel, and I know travel is a little iffy at the moment, but you don't want to get to the end of your life and going, nobody says, I wish I would have worked more. Nobody says, I wish I would have worked more. It's, I wish I would have spent more time with my friends and family, or I wish I would have traveled more. I wish I wouldn't have been afraid to start that business 30 years ago when I knew it was in my gut. And that's what we want to do. Only the inspired, so all of the coaches, I believe, are inspired. And some people, they don't know if they fit into the inspired quote, right? And that could be as little as, do you want to be an inspiration for yourself? Do you want to inspire your kids, your grandkids? Do you want to inspire your community? Or do you want to go all the way and inspire 10,000 women or the world? And so that is your option. And all of us have the ability to do that. And those are questions that you need to ask yourself. Am I doing right now? What if I keep on doing what I'm doing right now? Is that going to inspire my life, my kids, my spouse, anybody? Or do I need to take that uncomfortable leap of faith, not knowing how it's going to work? When we're used to our systems, we're used to the comfort zone of how things work. Are you willing to step outside of that comfort zone to find the life that you truly desire, that you inspire to live, right? Yeah. So that is the whole goal. Inspire the world. I want to inspire the world. And with these beautiful coaches from every walk of life, and they've all taught me something. And we're only, I'd say we're about 2/3 of the way done. But every coach has taught me something unique, something different, something, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. And, what's the power in that? That's just awesome. Wisdom from all over the world. And, I love what you're doing, Theresa. I think you're going to help so many people.
Thank you.
So many people. So I want to let you guys know how many coaches we have going in the next few days. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So we have Lucia Tiffany. She's coming on here in just a little bit. We have Dr. Hoke Effion. I am so bad with pronouncing names. And she's actually a pediatrician that realized that the kids that were struggling, their parents were also struggling. So she started coaching the moms on how to live a healthy life, how to have the mindset, and then in turn that immediately affects their kids, right? And then we have Corey Jenkins. She is absolutely amazing. We have Rish Mitra. We have Amy Harrison. We have Tracy Nolan Bierman. We have Trisha Robinson. We have Sherilyn Decker. We have the incredible Meredith Viggers. We have Sue Hammond, Gary Martinez. We have Brendan Kumarasamy, Ashley. I'm so bad with these names. The beautiful Ashley Amadezai. Yeah. We have Lee Smith, Tiffany Hockelman, Nozomi Morgan, Janice Page, Lachelle Lowe, Sean Coe, Cindy Miller, and that is the golf pro, by the way. You are going to love Cindy. She's awesome. And then the beautiful Jeannie Hanish. So, yeah, our days are so packed with, just a huge variety of all of the coaches and their background and what they coach on, what they teach on. We have intuitives. We have dad coaches. There's so many, we have a lot of women coaches on the summit. And I think hands down, women coaches outnumber men coaches. But we actually have a dad coach, Rich Mitra. And what he is teaching and coaching is so important. So I am just super excited about all of these interviews. So make sure that you plug in, and the days are going to be a little bit longer, and we're going to have just back-to-back incredible interviews. I'm super excited. Yay. So
amazing.
Yes, I know. And just, we got a week to go. Woo! So this has been, it's been so fun. I'm blessed to have all of you guys here. I'm blessed to be connected to all of these coaches. Let me bring up Miss Lucia. Hello, beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Let's see if we can switch.
Hi.
Oh, that view's better.
Awesome. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
So how is all the smoke where you're at? Because are you still in paradise?
Yes, and as I look out my window, I can only see the nearest hills. Anything past that is just hazed out. So yeah, we're getting plenty of smoke.
Yeah, so Lucia's in Paradise, California, where almost a whole entire town burnt down a few years ago. Super sad. And California, almost the whole state's on fire right now. It's crazy. And so she's right in the thick of it. Mother Nature's a little pissed off right now. She got double hurricanes on one side, fires on the other side.
Crazy times. It is crazy times.
Crazy times. Awesome. Well, Miss Theresa, thank you for being here. For everybody, if you want to put questions for her in the chat, put them in the chat. She is in the group. So you can reach out to her in the group, and I'm going to put her ebook and workbook and the link to get that under the giveaways tab. So you'll see the guy swinging his jacket, and it says giveaways under the announcement in the Coach Summit group. And so you can get that link where you get her ebook and the workbook, but then you could also just click on her name, and that'll bring you straight to her Facebook profile, and you could send her a message if you need to. So I love that all of the coaches are available right there in the group. So make sure you reach out to them, say, I love your interview, let's talk more. And so thank you so much, Theresa, for being here. And if you want, you can hang out until the end, and we could bring you back up, or we could just see you in the group, whichever you prefer.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. I will have to run, but I can't wait to see your interview as well. And this has been amazing. Robin, thank you so much for what you do. The summit is awesome. I can't wait to see what you are going to do next. So if you're not in this group yet and you saw this video, please come into the group and join the next videos. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you were here. Have a wonderful day.
Right. You guys too. Bye.
Bye.
Oops. There you go. I got rid of you too. I didn't mean to do that.
That's okay.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. It's been a while. You were one of the first coaches that I interviewed. And so it's almost actually exactly today. It's been 3 months since we recorded the interview. We did it May 25th, 2020. And it's my stepson's birthday today.
Wow. Well, tell him happy birthday.
Yes, I already did. And then hopefully we're going to do dinner with him tonight. But yeah, so I'm very interested to see at the end of your interview how much has changed for you. Because I know we're all crazy busy getting businesses built and doing all sorts of stuff. Do you have anything to catch us up with, or anything you want to talk about before we watch that?
Well, I have done some really kind of interesting things since our interview. Put together more of a program on immunity, and I'm starting up a group for diabetics and pre-diabetics that are interested in taking care of those blood sugar issues so that they can have better immunity. So yeah, it's interesting getting the course on several different platforms now. And I think I've updated my giveaway. So we might want to check that. I don't remember what link I had given you.
It was a bit.ly link. bit.ly/DM data guide.
Yes, I have a new one. So while the recording's running, I'll stick it in the chat for you.
Either stick it in the chat, or how about you just okay, yeah, stick it in the chat.
Okay.
I was gonna say Facebook Messenger, but that way we could say what it is, and then I will also put it in the Facebook group under the giveaways.
Sounds
Yay.
good.
Awesome.
Because I updated it to an infection risk assessment, because I think that's going to be more helpful to people. And then I have instructions in there about like what you need to do to get started on your journey to becoming the chief executive officer of your own immunity. So I've kind of updated it since we had done that particular link. So I'll give you the new one.
Awesome. Awesome. And how many years were you a nurse?
I've been a nurse since 1981. So it's going on 30 years here.
Just a couple days. You started with your I get it. Awesome. Yep. Okay, are you ready to watch your interview?
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay, for everybody watching, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and then we're going to bring Miss Lucia back up to answer any questions that you might have. And so I am going to share my screen. If you want to mute your microphone, and then when we bring you back up, then we'll unmute and go from there, okay?
Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Robin Leslie with onlytheinspired.com, and I am here with another amazing interview with a beautiful coach, Miss Lucia Tiffany. And so she's got a very specific niche towards pre-diabetic and diabetic women of faith, and I am super excited to hear her message. She's been in nursing and everything, so we're going to find out a little bit more. So in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Thank you so much for having me on, Robin. I really appreciate being here and having a chance to serve the audience that is listening today. As a nurse and health educator, as Robin mentioned, I work with women who want to normalize their blood sugars to reverse metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, and type 2 diabetes. So that's the group that I especially work with at this time.
Very cool. And how did you get started? Why did you pick that niche? What was it that kind of shifted you into helping those women?
That's a great question, Robin. And let me back up by giving you a little story that'll help with some background for where I'm coming from. It was a tropical, sultry day in the rainforest of Peru. I was 9 and anxious to go play with my best friend, Nellie. I ran out the door, and as I approached Nellie, she blurted, "Ulysses fell out of a tree and is hurt." Her 7-year-old brother was our regular playmate. My heart sank. Ulysses had suffered a severe skull fracture, and he lost his life the very next day.
Oh my gosh.
Accidentally losing someone that's close to you is heartrending. But when that loss is preventable, it makes me sad and angry. Every 46 seconds in the US, someone dies from a preventable cause like diabetes or heart disease. And so as a Christian lifestyle coach, my life calling is to help you avoid being one of those people. And so that's kind of where I start. And as I worked with my parents, who were a health education team from the time I was very young, I got started early teaching people principles of healthy living that would help them not get some of these chronic lifestyle diseases that the majority of Americans are dying from today. And I think it really came home to me. You know, a lot of times people say, well, diseases run in my family, like diabetes runs in my family. I hear that a lot. Well, as I was growing up, two of my grandparents, an aunt, uncles, and a sibling all had diabetes. And so I know what it's like to inherit bad genes. And a lot of us just feel like, you know, my gene pool is horrible. But, you know, I had the example of my grandmother. And she's one that chose not to give in to hopelessness or fear when she was diagnosed with diabetes. She decided instead to take charge of her diet and her exercise, and she permanently reversed her diabetes decades before she passed away at the ripe old age of 96. And that experience taught me early in life, in a very practical, close to the heart way, that simple, targeted lifestyle changes can result in life transformation.
Right. Wow. And not only just preventable diseases, but feeling good and feeling alive. So, describe your ultimate vision for your business.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. The ultimate what?
Your ultimate vision for your business.
Thank you. What I see my business doing is growing and expanding in ways that enable me to impact as many people as possible to, number one, realize that if they have a diagnosis of prediabetes or diabetes, it's not a life sentence. They have hope to reverse that. And my vision is that through the tools, the resources, and the work that I can do with people, that thousands of lives will be impacted, not just in terms of improving health, reversing disease, but actually having longer lives that aren't just longer, but actually better. Because I mean, I've talked to so many people that say, why would I want to live a long life if all I have to look forward is being sick for the last 20 years?
Right.
There's no point in that. So I think quality of life is just as important as reversing disease and as doing those things that really help to feed us both physically and spiritually and emotionally. And as we do that, that's why I always include that spiritual component in the work I do, because as a Christian, I believe that the most effective lifestyle change comes when we access the power that God can give us for change.
Right. And I love what you said about people thinking they have a life sentence. And that's not, so it's a diagnosis, but that doesn't mean you don't have control of that. And,
That's right.
And a lot of people don't understand that, I don't think.
And the sooner it's addressed, the higher your chances of reversing it without having developed a bunch of serious complications. Because the complications of the disease are really the things that decrease quality of life, shorten your life, and sometimes aren't as easy to reverse.
Right, like the swollen ankles and the numb feet and all that kind of stuff.
The numbness, that's an early one that so many people struggle with. Even before they're diagnosed as diabetic, they can be having nerve damage that gives them that tingling. And many doctors will tell you that once that happens, you can't go back. Now, I actually know that's not true, because I know of people that have changed their lifestyle, made different choices, and actually reversed not just the blood sugar issue, but some of the complications like neuropathy.
Oh, wonderful. Yay. So what beliefs do you have that you think set you apart from your competition? And I'm one of those that believes in collaboration. I had a brain fart right there. Collaboration versus competition, but we all have different perspectives. So what do you think your different perspective or belief is that kind of makes you a little bit different?
Well, you know, I think both of those are fairly unique. For example, on the philosophical approach to like what undergirds foundationally the approach that I take with these lifestyle interventions is a model that looks at two important aspects of treating any kind of disease. Because it doesn't matter whether you're trying to prevent, treat, or reverse disease, these two aspects always come into play. The first aspect is your own theory of origins. And the second aspect is the focus of the therapy or the treatment. And so when we look at those two things, do I have a minute to kind of break that down a little?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like you to.
Okay, when we look at theory of origins, it's a continuum. People have a lot of different thinking or opinions on where they came from. And that's basically the question I'm looking at. Where do I come from? And how people answer that question, on one end, we have a very kind of man-focused answer to that question. Things like, well, I came from an ape, or as a human being, I developed through a long evolutionary process, or even it was a result of an alien invasion. All of those are what I consider man-made theories. And they have, different lengths of history to them and so on. But that's one kind of basket of opinions. On the other end of that continuum, we have the belief that I came from a loving creator God who designed me in an intelligent fashion, and everything about that design is also running according to laws that he put into place. So, if you're more evolutionary, or if you're more like looking at a creator God, those ways of looking at things really affect your choices when it comes to preventing, treating, and reversing disease.
Right.
The second aspect is whether the focus of therapy is on relieving signs and symptoms, or if it's on identifying and removing the cause of the disease. So everybody kind of breaks down into some combination of those two aspects. Where I come from in the education and the work that I do with my clients is from a basis of belief that God is a creator and that our bodies are intelligently designed. And therefore, if we can identify the cause of our health problems and address those by removing the cause, we remove the disease. And so that's the perspective that I come from, and I tie in these lifestyle interventions that I teach into a firm biblical foundation, because I really believe that true science and the Bible coordinate. They're not in conflict, as many people will try to tell you, but they actually support each other. And so the interventions that I teach are very science-based. We have lots of good research in the area of lifestyle and its impact on health to back up the interventions that I use with my clients. But those also reflect principles that I find in the Bible. And I like people to see how those two work together, because I believe that understanding that gives you the things you need to be truly successful long-term with lifestyle change.
Awesome. Well, yeah, because when you're looking at the cause, you're looking at the cellular level, and if you can make those cells healthy, then everything else gets healthy. If you're just trying to mask a symptom and just put a Band-Aid on it, or give you a medication that keeps your blood sugars down, but it doesn't necessarily fix the problem, then you're always kind of gonna have that problem. And yes, medications do help. You sometimes need those and they save lives, but you also have to fix that at the core root problem.
And I found in working with my clients that the root problem isn't always just like a cellular blood sugar problem. Sometimes the root problem is something social, emotional, or spiritual. And by that, I mean how we deal with stress. Because stress has a huge impact on blood sugars. I know personally someone who can have a perfectly normal blood sugar and has to deal with a bit of stressful news, and that blood sugar can go from normal of around 100 or 120 for them up to 400 without them eating anything. It's a simple stress reaction. So if we don't identify and deal with the whole person aspect of the disease, then we can still end up actually treating symptoms instead of removing causes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So what was the hardest thing for you to overcome when starting your business?
I love that question. My business has kind of evolved over time. It was a business on paper more than a decade ago, but for many years it kind of limped along as a hobby more than a business. I think that for me, getting a clear path and having real clarity about what the problem was that I solved and who I served was really key to helping me build a business. And that was something I really struggled with because I'm a very shiny object person. And I have a large basis of experience. I've done so many things. I like doing so many things. Everything I have will help everybody, you know?
I feel you.
So I really had to get some clarity and kind of narrow that down so that my efforts within my business are more focused and not so scattered. And that's made a huge difference for me.
Gotcha. See, yeah, my shiny object thing, see, I get to solve that problem by working with so many coaches because I don't have to be the expert in all these things, but if I can help these coaches that are the experts in all these things for me, then it's a win-win situation, right?
Perfect solution.
Yeah, because I want to help everybody, and it's hard to pick one person that you help or, you know, one problem that you help, and yeah, so I love that. So, and this is a question because some people have the support and some do not. So I like to ask this question. So do you have this support network of friends and family supporting you in your journey? Are you kind of doing this all on your own? This is what I decided to do. I'm doing it. It doesn't matter if nobody's supporting me. I'm just very curious. And I'm sure I know the answer with you.
Well, it's actually a journey because when I started, I said I had a business, but my husband, who's a very, he's an engineer, so he's very analytical, very number cruncher type. And, you know, he would basically look at my business bank account and say, well, I don't see anything coming in. How do you call that a business? And there were, you know, back a couple of years, I wanted to invest in some education that would help me on the business fronts, and it cost quite a bit of money. And no, my business didn't have the money to pay for it. And so we were talking about that, and he was like, well, you know, I like the idea of what you want to do, but you know, it's got to be productive because we aren't independently wealthy. We can't, you know, just sink money into a business that has no return.
Right.
And so, you know, he did take a risk on me, and he supported me in going forward with some of that education. And unfortunately, some of it wasn't as effective as it was laid out to be, you know, in the advertising and so on. And so I still wasn't really seeing the kinds of returns to justify that. And he's really big on ROI, you know, return on investment, not seeing that. And so, you know, there's kind of been some back and forth. I have some other little side hustles that would bring in a little cash, and I'd take that and invest it. And, you know, it's kind of been a journey, but I would have to say that more recently, as I have gotten more clarity, become more focused, and therefore more effective in my business, he is on board. And he's like, yes, I want to see you doing things. And he's, you know, his support is very useful. It's like, he'll look at me and he goes, so, you know, how many phone calls have you made? You know, what are you doing going forward? And so he's always encouraging me to keep moving and to grow my business.
That's all. I appreciate your honesty. And sometimes it is a journey, right? So you get rejection at first, and then a little hesitation, and they're warming up a little, then you finally get the belief. And so it didn't start off super pretty, and I totally get you, and I get those questions too. So what did you do today? towards to help your business. I get that. I get that. That's so funny. So what is your favorite thing about your business?
Oh, I got to say my favorite thing is working with people and explaining how our body works and seeing the light bulbs come on when they finally understand the why behind lifestyle changes that they probably have known for years they need to make, but many times fail to actually understand the connection between the choices they're making and the direct impact it has on their body physiology. And once they understand that, it just like changes everything for them. It increases their motivation. They can stick with it longer because now they like actually understand how what they're doing impacts them. I like to tell people, I'm a nurse by trade. I have a master's in public health, and as a nurse, I have helped many people sign the paperwork, for example, before procedures like surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
There's this paper called an informed consent that everybody has to sign before any kind of procedure that has any kind of risk. And usually this informed consent says things like, I understand that if I do this surgery, I could have this and this and this and this, and I might even die. And unless you explain all of those possibilities to them and they accept that and sign the paper, the procedure doesn't go forward. Yet people every day are making choices about what they put in their mouth, what they do with their bodies, that has an equally important effect on their health and their quality of life, and yet they have no idea. So I tell people my responsibility is that you are informed about the consequences of your decisions. It is not my job to police you, to tell you what to do, to make your choices or decisions for you. But I really feel a responsibility for you to truly understand the impact of your choices. Then you get to exercise your free will.
Gotcha. And I think that's super important. I am a why person. Instead of just telling somebody, including kids, instead of just telling them to do this, this is why you want to do this. And this is the reasons behind it. And then they go, oh, okay, that totally makes sense. And if you understand that, like high fructose corn syrup, it's in everything. And people don't realize how horrible it is. But unless you actually know what it does to your body, you might continue to eat it. But once you get that knowledge and once you understand, oh, this is super bad for me, but unless you're educated on that, you don't know why you should listen. And so I think that is super important. I want to know why. And I sometimes over explain things because I think it's important to know why. And then they'll go, okay, that totally makes sense. And I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So I love that you fully explain that so they know what's going on. They know the reasons they should do that. I think that's great. Mm-hmm. So what inspires you, or what are you passionate about?
I am really passionate about seeing people learn these things and then apply them. Knowledge only goes so far if it's not applied. And I know that in my own life, even in the growth of my business, I have had to go through that same process. I have learned, for example, a great deal about what it takes to run a successful business. But until I actually apply that learning, not much happens in my business. So I think supporting people through coaching one-on-one or in a group and having building a relationship with people over time that provides the support they need as they're making changes is huge in actually seeing impact. Because the education part of it, many people even get it, they understand it, but if they don't have the support to put that into action, sometimes additional tools or strategies, like how do I make this work in my home under my situation?
That I'm the only one changing how I eat, possibly.
Right. That's a big one.
That's a big
Especially if
one.
you have a family, not everybody I work with is a, single person that lives alone.
Right.
Most of them are in a family group of some sort. And so lifestyle changes that they need to make will often impact other people in the family. And so we have to look at what are ways to bring the family along. What are strategies that can be used so that you can do what you need to do and your family's still happy and supportive. Because if they're not, it's just not going to work long term.
Great. So who inspires you?
My mother inspires me.
Aw.
She is 91 years old. And most people to look at her would guess her to be more like 70. She is active. Her mind is keen. She's still actively involved in education in the community. Like, she teaches vegetarian cooking schools at the local community college, and they've got her on the schedule for this next fall. I mean, she's not quitting anytime soon. She's taking care of a large garden and orchard, and there's beautiful flowers and roses. And, it's like, I want to be like that when I'm 91. So she's a real inspiration to me. And she's actually the one that started me in so many ways on this path. She had me in the kitchen with her when I was very young. By the time I was 6 or 7, she had taught me how to make granola. And if I wanted to buy something, I didn't get an allowance. I could make granola, $1 for a 14-cup batch of granola. And so it was pretty easy for me to figure out, if I need $5, I'm going to have to make 5 batches of granola. And I would make the granola, I would sell it to her, or sometimes to neighbors or friends. And that's where I would get my pocket money. So, she got me started on this really early.
Well, and that's very valuable money value thing versus here's the $5. You have to work for it, and it shows that money has a value. And yeah, so I think that's tremendous things that your mom taught you at a very young age. And I would like to know how you do your granola. I love granola.
I'll be happy to share the recipe.
Okay. So if you could leave one tip or one golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you can tell them and the only time you can ever say it, what would it be?
The most powerful tool in your toolbox is your power of choice. That's something that nobody else can take away from you. Nobody else can give to you. But it is what determines the outcome of your life. It determines your destiny. It determines everything along the journey. And it is a power that most people completely underestimate or never even think about. But it would be something I'd want you to take away, is that you have a choice, and that choice is powerful.
I love that. That's awesome. Yay. So, is there anything else that you would like to say? I know you have a giveaway, but is there anything else that you would like to say to everybody today?
I would just like to give everybody a heads up on a brand new project of mine. By the time you watch this video, it should be up and running. And that's a free podcast. It's called Undoing Diabetes God's Way. And it will be on all of the popular podcast platforms. In this podcast, we're going to discuss lifestyle interventions based on cutting-edge science while looking through a lens of ancient biblical principles of living. What are the root causes of diabetes? How can we remove those causes in order to reverse the disease? No fad diets, just real food. Not going to be looking for expensive gym memberships needed, just how and when and how much to move. No therapy, just healthy mindset habits. So I want you to listen to this podcast, be motivated and empowered to take charge of your own health. I bring over 50 years of experience in lifestyle change to this podcast, and my passion with this is to serve you with practical, actionable ways to optimize your physical, mental, and spiritual health.
Yay! I love that you're doing the science and the faith-based. I think that's awesome. Because a lot of times, you feel like you have to pick one or the other, and I don't believe you have to at all.
I don't either.
Yeah. So Miss Lucia is giving away a diabetic baseline health data guide. And so
maybe I should say a little something about that.
Yeah, say something about that, and then maybe go over the URL with the case sensitive.
Okay. One of the first steps I take my clients through is what I call GPS, which is getting your map for your journey to better health. And so those 3 steps of GPS are getting a baseline, picking a destination, and then getting a support system to take you through it. This tool, the Baseline Health Data Guide, is a way to objectively look at where you are right now, because you don't need to know where you are so that you can then pick a path to where you want to be. So basically, this is a very simple handout. It has a spreadsheet where it has some of the really key objective measurements of health, especially focused for those of you dealing with diabetes or blood sugar problems. So it'll have things like, what's your fasting blood sugar, what's your weight, what's your blood pressure, and all of the things that it asks for are easy to get. There are some lab tests because those are really important objective pieces of information for you to know where you are when you start, because they're also a way to measure your progress as you go along. And so I have resources there where you can get the lab work you need if you don't already have it, if your doctor doesn't already have it in your records. You can go online, order it, pay for it yourself. You don't have to have a doctor's order. It's cheaper than paying cash at most labs, and you can just take your requisition to a local Quest lab and get those results. So I also have a little scoring system with it so that you can use it to prioritize the areas where your personal data is most out of whack, and that helps you to know, like, what do I need to address first. So I really encourage you to take this, use it, fill it out, and it will help give you a really solid baseline so that you can think about what you want to do next, where you want to go.
Very cool. Knowledge is power. And so yes, you have to know where you are at. You have to know. You can't just guess where you're at. And I love that you give those tools where you can actually get the lab work and stuff. So where do you go to get that?
You can go to bit.ly, that's bit.ly /DM for diabetes mellitus, small letters, data guide. So capital DM, lowercase, data guide, no spaces.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. I think you're really going to help a lot of people. There's so many that have diabetes or are pre-diabetic, and if they could get a handle on that before would be best, but how to actually take back control if you are actually diabetic. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your knowledge, and I'm looking forward to that granola recipe.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's been a joy to be here and to share. And I was just thinking it might make sense if that link went also in the show notes, and then people can go back there and look for it and find it if they didn't get it written down.
Oh yes, for sure. We'll put the link in there so that way they can visually see it. I'm a visual person, so
me too.
Thank you so much. You're beautiful, and I appreciate you, and I'm glad you were here with me.
Thank you so much, Robin.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. Okay, unmuted. So,
all right, thank you.
What was that like for you?
Well, that was kind of fun. Like you said, it's been several months, and it was kind of fun to hear myself again.
Yeah.
So, but I did have a little update. The same spreadsheet, the thing.
You're getting a little glitchy.
Sorry, I updated it to look at infection risk. So whether you're diabetic or not, this will work well for you. So we can just post the link.
Okay, perfect. And then so you posted that link for me here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and that's easy. And then I will just and I will just copy and put that inside the Facebook group. So all of the giveaways again are under the announcements tab in the Only the Inspired Coach Summit group. And you'll see a guy swinging his jacket like here, and it says giveaways. And that's where all of the links for all of the coaches are. So that's where all of the giveaways are, what they're giving away. And then you can click right on their name and send them a message directly, which is awesome. So does anybody have any questions for Miss Lucia? So yeah, I don't know if I ever get that granola recipe.
You know, I was thinking about that as I heard that. I'm like, I think I haven't gotten that to you. So please make sure I get a little reminder if you don't get it in the next day or two, because I will go get that from my mom and try to get that sent out to you today. I should be able to do that today.
Okay, awesome. And Miss Lucia, she is one of our coaches on Only the Inspired once we get going.
Yep.
And that's a week. That's a week from today. Holy moly, there's so much to do.
I know, but it's exciting. It's exciting. And just
so exciting. And I'm so, it's 3.5, almost 4 years in the making. And, I'm just so thrilled that it's happening. And, I am just so very grateful for all of the coaches on the summit, and the wisdom that you have by yourself is just incredible. And then Theresa and all of the other coaches, and we just have a stockpile of coaches coming on for the interviews for the next few days. So make sure you guys tune into that. Do watch parties, share it. And don't forget to go to onlytheinspired.com and sign up and get your membership for $67. Holy moly. So, just imagine all that you're going to get for, the $67. You're going to get access to all of these courses and all of these coaches. I have doctors, and so we would have a nurse and a doctor and an attorney or two attorneys. Yeah, it's just crazy the what these coaches bring, and I hope you guys understand. And it's not all about the coaches. It's truly about helping you live your best life, helping you, if you are pre-diabetic, how can we reverse that? Let's reverse that. Let's get you healthy. Let's get you feeling amazing again, so you could go to the beach and you can have fun. And it's to get you to spread the love, really understand your family, understand you, understand your desires, and go for those desires. So there's so many benefits that come with being part of the Only the Inspired, plus that group that we're talking about, just surrounding yourself by people who are the cheerleaders for you, because cheerleaders are super important in life. And if you don't have them, then it's very discouraging. And so there's so many incredible things that onlytheinspired.com has to offer you. So I make sure that you go to that onlytheinspired.com and sign up for a membership. It's a pre-launch membership, but we're going live in a week.
It's such an amazing value,
Yay.
Robin. I just thank you for putting all that time and energy into creating this platform that I think is just going to be able to serve and impact so many people.
Me too. And, with the collaborate, and it's not, it would be totally different if I did it all on my own. But I can, and I don't want to. I am grateful to have all of you amazing coaches there helping me with all of your individual messages and, trainings and all that. I could only touch a few people in a few different areas, but with collaboration, all of us together, there's nothing we can't do. So yes, and it's just going to grow and expand from there. I believe this is going to be the biggest shift in coaching. It's collaboration of entrepreneurs and coaches, raising the value of people who want to change the world. Yay. Yay. Those are my people. Yeah. Awesome. So tomorrow we have 4 coaches. So tomorrow's the 26th. We have 4 coaches, and the first one's a doctor, and that is Dr. Hoke. F Young. And so, like I said earlier, she is a pediatrician that realized there was a habit, or not a habit, but something that she recognized when the kids were struggling, their parents were struggling too. So she started coaching the parents to live that healthier lifestyle, whether that's mental mindset, whether that's eating, whether that's exercising, and that immediately affects their kids. And so I thought it was brilliant that she came up with that. It's like, okay, I am seeing a correlation. The sick kids, moms are stressed. Yeah. And it's funny how that happens. And Corey Jenkins, she talks about living your best life. And she is just a world traveler. And actually, I'm hoping she's going to come to Reno. I know she's doing the little trek. So that would be awesome to see Miss Corey Jenkins. And then we have Rish Mitra. So I can't wait for his interview. I don't think there's enough men coaches out there. And he's teaching on, basically, he had lots of aha moments when he had a toddler. He finally became a dad and then realized that that habits, that norms out there aren't really healthy for boys. Boys weren't really taught to show emotions. They weren't taught to talk about their feelings. If a little girl cries, oh, sweetheart, it's okay. And you love and pat the little girl. If a little boy hurts himself or cries, it's like, toughen up. And so he's going to actually take that conversation head on, because I think it hurts so many men because they've never been taught how to talk about their emotions and how to actually, embrace being vulnerable as a boy instead of, and so it's a conversation that is far too overdue. And then we have the beautiful Miss Amy Harrison. She is a relationship coach, and she actually talks about how relationships are affected by addictions. And so that's going to be a very powerful interview. So we have 4 amazing interviews tomorrow. So please make sure you guys tune in. Thank you, Miss Lucia, for being here.
Thank you, Robin, for having me. I sure enjoyed it.
You're welcome. Stay inside. Don't go outside. Way too much smoke where you're at.
I'm doing that most of the time.
Yeah, I had a friend, they got evacuated the other day. I'm not sure where she lives, but she was, a friend from high school from Red Bluff, and you're right outside of Red Bluff.
Well, a few hours away, yep.
Yeah. So Paradise. Oh, yeah. So it's to Chico, and then you're how far from Chico?
It's about 15 miles from Chico, about 12 miles from Oroville, and we're just kind of up in the hills a little bit. So
got you. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And make sure you tune in. Make sure you watch the watch party. If you have any questions for Miss Theresa or Lucia, make sure you put those either in the chat. They'll check on them, or just reach out to them in the Facebook group, and they'll be in there. So,
all right. Sounds good.
Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye.